What's up, y'all? This panel is very frustrating, but also very scary because this is what an authoritarian government looks like when you are threatened and made to bend the knee to the government if you do not do what they consider to be correct. This is a slippery slope that we're on, but let's talk about it.
Well, you don't have a right to work for whoever you want to. You have a right to say what you want,
but you're
not
forgetting
to be
about the
employed by
thrust,
anyone.
which Abby's going to play.
The question, here's the reason I want to play this, okay? Because I think we're willfully ignoring the threat, which was explicit. It wasn't implicit, it was explicit. Listen to what he actually said.
They have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. And we can get into some ways that we've been trying to reinvigorate the public interest and some changes that we've seen. But frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct and take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead.
Did you guys catch what he said? Now, this is Brandon Carr, the FCC chairman, and what he said is, you're going to do this the easy way or the hard way. Now, this is the FCC that his previous sentence said that we control the license that you use in order to broadcast. So what Abby is saying is it's not a vague threat. It is a direct threat, and he even used Kimmel's name. He used Kimmel's name within the confines of this threat and said that the FCC will have some work to do. It's a very slippery slope, but what's even more slippery is how the Republicans and MAGA lover Scott Jennings just makes it appear like this is okay, and they see no problem with this. They have had this attitude that Republicans can do whatever they want, but the Democrats do something, then it's going to be a problem.
Shame what happens to your nice network. It'd be a shame what happens to your nice show. That's a threat.
Well, and not only that, but then Donald Trump took to Truth Social and then said further, that leaves Jimmy and Seth, two total losers on fake news NBC. Their ratings are also terrible. Do it, NBC.
I mean, it will never end, but, just worth noting, just a couple years ago, back in 2019, Brandon Carr, he tweeted this on a different topic. Should the government censor speech it doesn't like? Of course not. The FCC does not have a roving mandate to police speech in the name of the public interest. And yet, he is doing exactly that.
Once again, the party of hypocrites and ridiculousness. But such just enormous hypocrites to be able to actually say these things. We have the power to go back and find the things that you said about very specific topics. And the FCC chair said that it is not the job of the FCC to regulate this type of speech. That was in 2019. Here it is, 2024. He's doing the exact same thing. And having the power of the presidency, which the FCC is a federal agency that works for the president. Anybody that says anyone that says something that the president doesn't like, they use, well, in this instance, he'll just use the FCC as his attack dog and threaten to take away your license, threaten to not have you pursue certain business deals unless you submit and bend the knee. This is the country that we are living in right now.
Today, where does this end? Where does this end in your mind? You are fully comfortable with the government saying, if you don't do this, if you don't get this person off the air who said something that was wrong or that you did not like, we are going to drop the hammer on you.
No,
You're good with that?
No, I didn't like it when the Biden administration worked with big tech during
So
COVID.
then why
and
are you
said,
defending it?
I'm not defending this. I'm saying right now, if ABC comes out and says we were forced to do this, we don't want to do this, I think this is part of a larger business decision on their part.
If ABC comes out a day after the FCC chairman threatens them, if they come out and say, we did not want to do this, if they come out, and this guy is smart, he understands that that's not what's going to happen. Even if they feel like that, they could have suspended, terminated Jimmy Kimmel at any point. You don't think that it's a coincidence that the day after or 2 days after Jimmy Kimmel made these statements, a day after the FCC chairman made his statements, now Jimmy Kimmel is suspended? Come on, like, knock it off. We guys talking about.
That goes back to what Scott said before about the affiliates.
ABC.
This is a failing industry in terms of late night television.
I get it. Listen,
this is their excuse. This
linear
is their
television,
reason.
failing industry. The whole world understands that. But
Why? Once again, I wish I could be on one of these panels. Like, why are you giving cover and saying this is a failing industry? If this was such a failing industry, which it is, however, if they wanted to get rid of Jimmy Kimmel for any reason, they could have. Why did they get rid of Jimmy Kimmel the next day after the FCC chairman mentioned Jimmy Kimmel, mentioned that the FCC would have pretty much go at Disney ABC for not getting rid of or taking care of Jimmy Kimmel? Come on now, y'all have to be serious.
But Nexstar has a very clear financial interest in not getting on the wrong side of that guy whose clip we just played, right? You don't see the problem with that?
And I think right now they're looking at the larger business circles, and they're hoping that people like you and others would point that direction instead of focusing.
You
on
at least see an ethical consideration for Carr, a conflict of interest for Carr, some sense of his position as a
conflict of interest with the Republican Party. Come on, conflict of interest. The president just made a $2 billion business deal over the summer. Conflict of interest. Come on now, like they have no sense of conflict. They have no sense of anything but getting and using their power. It's almost a joke to even mention conflict of interest anymore.
government official to make that kind of threat?
When is the FCC an attack dog for any political party?
Well, it has been against Howard Stern. It has been against others in the past, which I also object to. There is a slice out of our First Amendment for broadcast, which I think is wrong. And it's based on wrong decisions years and years ago about precious airwaves and about going into the home and so on and so forth. If we believe in the First Amendment, we believe in the First Amendment. And now we have this fascinating thing happening on the right where you have Ted Cruz defending hate speech because he doesn't want his speech taken off. And so where does free speech, is your question, Abby? Where is free speech here then? Where is that line? How do we know where that line is now?
Well, I think it's similar to the debate we've had this week beyond just this topic to people who said horrific, awful things after the assassination of Charlie Kirk last week. Now, I think it's awful, but they have a right to say that. But I also think employers have a right to say, not just in this instance, but in so many others we documented, if you say something that's inconsistent with the principles of our organization, be it a college, a business, a nonprofit, we don't want you
Do you
on
think
the
Fox should take Brian Kilmeade off the air for what he said about homeless people?
I think in all those cases, they have a right to do that. Whether
Do you think they should? I'm asking your judgment. You talked about a critic before, or you're a critic
Yeah,
now.
doesn't-
Do you
doesn't
think
offend-
Fox should fire
I didn't
Brian
say that they had to
Kilmeade?
take Jimmy Kimmel home. I said they have a right to. In each of these cases,
You think they should, Fox?
I'm telling you, they have a right to. That's what I'm
But
talking
you're
about.
also, you continue to talk about how it's a business decision, but the reality is that whether it is a threat, whether it is Donald Trump also threatening to go after organizations just because they have different views than him, he's threatening to go after the far left. All of these aren't business decisions. This is the federal government that is using their power in order to silence the media and people that disagree with them. And that is what is alarming.
So there was
So true and so straight to the point. This is what's alarming. This is not a business decision. This is nothing but authoritarianism, point blank. It is modern day authoritarianism. We will use the power of the federal government in order to make you bend the knee.
some reporting tonight that Kimmel was going to address this on his show tonight, but rather than allow this company to handle this the way that maybe they saw fit, maybe he might have apologized. They decided to go this route, and I have to believe, I guess, because it's in part because Trump. You read one of the tweets, but here's what he said on August 6th after Colbert was taken off the air or his show was canceled. Here's what he said in terms of his order of operations here. Let's play the soundbite from Trump.
Fallon has no talent. Kimmel has no talent. They're next. They're going to be going. I hear they're going to be going. I don't know, but I would imagine because they get, Colbert has better ratings than Kimmel or Fallon.
Okay, let's just take a moment and let's pretend that Donald Trump is not the president. Let's pretend that it's somebody else. And that person says, I don't like this person, I don't like that person. They're going to be gone next because I want them gone. I think the question that we have to ask ourselves in this moment is, if you took the partisanship out of it right now, would you be comfortable with the president of the United States saying to any private corporation, television network, cable broadcast, that this is how they have to program their TV in terms of who is on and who is not?
I don't have a problem with the president expressing an opinion about people who express opinions about him. And regarding Kimmel, whether he was going to address it or not, I read that he was going to address it, but that he wasn't going to apologize, which I am sure was going to make Sinclair and Nexstar go crazy.
But what about Trump using the government to enforce it? Because it's not just his words. He is also using the government to enforce his words.
Well, it is your opinion that they were threatening them. It is my opinion that they had a larger decision to make regarding their business interests.
Twice now. It is not my opinion that Brendan Carr said, you can either do this or I will do that. That's what he said.
Point blank. It's not opinion. It is a fact. He threatened them. He used Kimmel's name. When have we ever seen the FCC chairman out here making statements about different companies? In what world is that appropriate? Like, in what world is it not a conflict for him to be making these statements, to be mentioning TV shows that they don't like? What are you talking about, Scott? It's not an opinion. It is a direct threat out of his mouth. There's no ambiguity, but this is what the right does. They make things out like it's not true, it's an opinion. It's 100% fact that he threatened them. Come on, Scott, knock it off.
That's not my opinion. That's a fact.
Look, my view is all these companies have business decisions to make that are based on more than just what a singular person said in an interview. They've got affiliates to deal with. They've got advertisers.
What a single person said in an interview. This single person is the FCC chairman. The person who is directly involved with the business dealings of an acquisition that ABC is currently pursuing. You don't think that his attitude about how this company is operating is not going to influence his decision with this company? And you don't think that puts pressure on a company to follow and to do what he says? Come on. I mean, even if that wasn't the point, and we all can see that was the point, but even if that wasn't the point, that is 100% what the outcome is going to be. He's making these statements. He's directly involved. He has direct power. He has the ability to make this either happen or not. So he makes these statements publicly. How are you supposed to respond?
deal with. I promise
So why
you
not let them deal
that
with
when
it?
Jimmy
Why
Kimmel
do you
does
have to
what he
bring
does.
the FCC into it?
Well, look, he gave an interview. I can't tell you that if I were the head of the FCC, I would have given that interview. It sounded a little over the top to me, but I still believe that what's going on here has more to do with their business than it does with the government.
President
Then why won't you
sued
why won't you
CBS.
guys announce it? That's the thing. Why won't you say what the FCC what they did is wrong? I mean, I think that's the problem. Is it was a threat from the administration, and I understand the business dealing 100%. Just like the first ABC settlement, I truly believe that they were looking at it. It was a business deal. It was a business decision there, and that's why they moved forward with that. But when it comes to an actual threat from the federal government, that's wrong. It is wrong for our government to threaten these organizations when they have the power to approve mergers.
They didn't have to do this. They looked at all of the factors and said, okay, it's time for us to take Jimmy Kimmel off the air. I think there's...
Yo, what is wrong with Scott? Like, what is wrong with Scott? Are you insane? They didn't have to do it. So you want them to take on the federal government who is directly involved in a merger with this company. You want them to publicly piss off the federal government. How do you think that's going to play out? Realistically, logically. This is what you're saying that they should do. Okay.
more going on than just Brendan Carr's interview. All the time the president criticizes media outlets who then go out and continue to do what he hates it.
And he sues them.
Saying that he hates.
$15 billion.
What's going to happen? Nothing. What's going to happen?
This is an attempt to intimidate the New York Times. And you've heard me on this show. I'm not crazy about the New York Times coverage right now.
I mean,
but
listen.
they're trying to intimidate them. The same thing with ABC. The same thing with CBS. This is the power of the government brought down on speech, on the press.
Maybe it's just the power of someone in the government forcing a little self-reflection in these media companies for what they've been doing and the way they've been operating.
Free speech or not?
Of course I do.
Yeah, but it means you're saying we got to tie our hands and never fight back. All of us have been attacked. So let Jimmy Kimmel fight back.
So now it's about fighting back. Do you
Yes,
believe,
I think when he speaks out, when he says
do
these
you
people are bad and
believe in
disgusting
free
and
speech
they're
or not?
I
It's a
totally
simple
agree with
question.
that.
If
But
you
I don't
believe
believe
in
that
free
means an
speech-
election official
Hold on a
like myself
second.
or others
If
can
you
say,
believe
no,
in
just
free
go ahead and
speech,
talk. I'm not
do
going to
you
push back on you.
understand? Do
That's
you understand
outrageous.
that the threat of the president suing you for saying things that they don't like, and the threat of the government preventing you from conducting businesses
Well, the reason the president won in the past when he was a candidate
Do you
was
understand that
because
that's
of
a threat?
actions
Do you
they took
understand
were
that's a threat of
contradictory
free
to what
speech?
they actually reported.
So when
that's different than shutting down free
Elon Musk
speech.
was spreading lies about all kinds of things, but let's just put on the table the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband, and he was spreading falsehoods about claiming that there was some kind of illicit relationship, completely false stuff. If the government had dropped the hammer on Elon Musk, he would have been fine with that.
No, I'd say in the,
You would not have been fine with that. You would not have been fine with the federal government during the Biden administration shutting down, putting pressure on Elon Musk and his company because they reported something that was really false, a lie. But we're talking about just something that you don't like, speech that you don't like. Once again, you wouldn't have liked that happened to Elon Musk, but it's okay, or you can rationalize it happening to ABC and Jimmy Kimmel. So, got you.
So why can't we be intellectually honest and apply the same principles?
Abby, your job is to like mediate these folks, but let's me and you be intellectually honest. These folks are not making any attempt to be intellectually honest or have any type of actual argument that makes sense. They're not trying to make sense. They're not trying to have intellectual, honest conversation. They just are not. But I applaud you for trying.
Across the board, why do we have to create a
because
carve-out
you're saying if the
exception
government did
in
something,
this
I'm
moment?
saying they did. They made a decision today that they announced that
It's amazing how you're acting how Trump is powerless. He's just out there saying a few things.
No, I think
As
he's
his
extremely
regard,
powerful.
but
He's actually speaking
turned
the
out.
voices of millions of people.
He is.
People around
You
the
don't
country
have
go,
no
"What?"
Yeah, I mean, this is just really unbelievable. Just how they twist themselves up into knots to be able to allow one side to do pretty much whatever they want. But it's clear, like he said, he would have had a problem if the government would have came in and shut down Elon Musk for things that they just did not like. He had a problem with that. But Trump and his administration, FCC, is okay to do these things. So I just wanted to, drop this video and show you guys just how the government has the ability to limit freedom of speech and use its power in order to make people bend the knee, make companies bend the knee. And the reason why this is important, I'll tell you why this is important. It's important because these companies employ people. Now, someone like Jimmy Kimmel, obviously, he's made a lot of money in his career. He's probably not going to have any real issues. He has the ability to start his own thing, do a podcast, make his own media company. He has a lot of avenues and ways to make money. But just think about it. Think about how much social media you use. Think about how much information that you take in. Say you repost something or comment on a post, something that someone from the left, myself, just got it recently, said that they were going to threaten to send a video that I made, talking about Charlie Kirk. They said that they were going to send it to my employer. This is much bigger than ABC and Jimmy Kimmel. This is how you take away rights. You use the threat of the government to be able to put pressure on you. So now you can't say anything because now there's pressure on your employer to scan their staff to see if anyone is saying anything that doesn't fit the political philosophy or ideal of the president of the Republican Party. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Love to see what you guys think about this whole debate about freedom of speech and Kimmel pretty much being canceled. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.